Africa Investor Today is proudly brought to you in association with Petro SA and Afrexim Bank. Hello, you're watching Africa Investor Today this Friday, where we bring you business news updates from the African continent. Our bulletin today starts with a look at politics and economy news. Namibian President Hifikepunye Pohamba and his ruling Southwest African People's Organization retained a runaway lead in the nation's fifth elections with almost half the ballots counted. SWAPO won 76.6% of the 393,074 certified votes from 44 of 107 regional offices, according to figures released by the Electoral Commission of Namibia by 7:51 a.m. local time yesterday. The RDP, formed in 2007 by former SWAPO members, was second with 10.6%, while the United Democratic Front had 3.05%. Results from the presidential race showed Pohamba securing 77.82% of the 397,485 certified ballots cast, and RDP leader Hidipo Hamutenya, a one-time foreign minister, followed with 10.32% of the vote so far. About 1.18 million people registered to vote in the November elections. And Nigeria's government on Wednesday unanimously threw its weight behind ailing President Umaru Yar'Adua, rejecting calls by dozens of public figures for him to stand down. More than 50 Nigerian public figures had called on 58-year-old Yar'Adua to step down as leader of one of the world's top oil producers on the grounds that ill health had impaired his judgment. Information Minister Dora Akunyili said in a statement that the government had unanimously resolved that there is no basis for the invocation of the provisions of the Constitution for the reason that the president has not been found incapable of discharging his functions. Now, the news: the Zimbabwean government plans to set up 4 new missions in Africa and Asia as part of efforts to boost international relations. Foreign Affairs Acting Permanent Secretary Godfrey Magwenzi said the new missions would be opened in Senegal, Equatorial Guinea, China and South Africa. Magwenzi was presenting evidence before the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Foreign Affairs, Regional Integration and Trade. We're going to take a short break. More news right after this.
Redefining energy means redefining life. At the Petroleum, Oil and Gas Corporation of South Africa, our commitment to greater innovation and greener fuels has made us pioneers in the field of gas-to-liquids technology. It has also earned us worldwide recognition for producing the cleanest fuels through environmentally friendly processes. That's how we've become the international leader in diesel technology. Through pure innovation, pure energy, pure brilliance.
In companies and markets news now, in a statement released yesterday, Orascom Construction Industries announced that they had been awarded an intake, booster station and pipelines contract for the 6th October City water treatment plant in a joint venture with Egyptian firm Hassan Alam Sons. Orascom Construction Industries is one of the world's top contractors and is Egypt's biggest listed construction company. The project, which is worth about $393 million, will provide the 1.6 million cubic meters per day water treatment plant with raw water. Funding will be provided by the Egyptian government, which has increased infrastructure spending under a stimulus plan. The building is expected to begin this month and will be completed within 36 months. Sanlam, the wealth management and insurance group, said that normalized headline earnings per share had increased 5-fold for the 10 months to October 31st due to a strong investment performance. The investment performance was off the low base of the first 10 months of last year when equity prices slid. The group says international investment markets have recovered sharply since the end of June this year based on the expected turnaround in the global economy. The group had discretionary capital of about 3 billion rand, which would be used for really growing the business. Core earnings per share for the 10 months were 1% lower over the corresponding period last year. New business volumes and client retention remained resilient in the 4 months to October 31st. This is Africa Investor Today. Take a short break. Stay with us.
Afrexim Bank is Africa's leading trade finance bank, an organization dedicated to promoting African trade through credit, risk-bearing and advisory services. We pride ourselves on having local presence throughout the continent and are committed to extending our award-winning trade and project finance programs to unlock private sector development continent-wide. We invite you to become a part of our vision for a strong Africa in a changing world. If you trade within Africa, contact us to support you.
On to banking and finance news. On Wednesday, the heads of the world's leading international financial institutions called for a comprehensive agreement to combat climate change at this month's Copenhagen conference and agreed to further coordinate their own efforts to help achieve the meeting's ambitious goals. In a joint statement, the leaders pledged to use their own organizations' mandates, expertise and resources to help authorities combine with the private sector to confront the challenges of climate change and to make the best possible use of available financing. An agreement in Copenhagen must provide an ambitious, comprehensive and equitable global climate change regime beyond 2012 that enables all countries to achieve sustainable development. CFC Stanbic Holdings is spinning off its insurance business with a view of separately listing it on the Nairobi Stock Exchange by June 2010. The complex transaction, which will see the insurance business transferred to a new holding company, CFC Insurance Holdings Limited, before the listing, is aimed at enabling the market to give a precise valuation of the business. Standard Bank Group of South Africa holds a 60% stake in CFC Stanbic Holdings, which is listed at the NSE and was formed after the merger of CFC Bank Limited and Stanbic Bank Limited. And with that, we must take a short break. Our infrastructure section is up next.
Africa Investor, the leading African investment magazine, is essential reading for investors in Africa, filled with the very latest in Pan-African investment and finance news. In addition, log on to africa-investor.com to find out more about our exciting capital market infrastructure and tourism events, and our long-standing investable Africa Investor 100 Index series, which tracks over $600 billion of African equities. Doing business in Africa, you can't afford to be without Africa Investor.
On to infrastructure news now. According to the president of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, Kahim Abdul Ali, only a massive infrastructural development by government can tame the adverse effects of the ravaging global economic meltdown on Nigeria. The president of the society, Kashim Abdul Ali, disclosed this yesterday in Abuja at a media briefing to herald the forthcoming 42nd National Engineering Conference and AGM scheduled for Owerri. He argued that the engineering profession holds the ace to the infrastructure development of the country, explaining that all over the world, development was measured by the extent a society is able to provide infrastructure for its people. He did, however, identify the non-inclusion of professional Nigerian engineers by the government in the scheme of affairs in the country up to implementation level as a bane of the infrastructural development of the Nigerian economy. And in our final story, energy experts have questioned the viability of the multi-billion rand Cougar combined cycle gas turbine power plant project that will provide up to 2,400 megawatts to complement other national power generation programs in South Africa. The project, estimated to cost 30 billion rand, including gas supply, is being pushed by the Cougar Development Corporation, the CDC, which drives development at the Cougar Industrial Development Zone. Yesterday, the CDC issued an expression of interest to parties with the required financial and technical capability to build and operate the power station, which would have capacity equivalent to 6% of the country's current energy generation capacity. Kwezi Tia, the executive manager for business development at CDC, said the project was critical not just to satisfy the current investors, but also to secure supply of energy for future investors. But it has raised concerns, and Doug Cooney, the chairman of the SA Independent Power Producers Association, did not know how the project would work, as it did not fall under the Integrated Resource Plan, which had a list of all projects to be considered by Eskom or the Buyer's Office for Power Procurement. And that's how we close this week. Africa Invested Today will be back on Monday with more. Remember that you can get more on these and other African business stories by logging onto our website, www.africa-investor.com. From us here, goodbye. Africa Investor Today is proudly brought to you in association with Petro SA and Afrexim Bank.